What is up, guys? Delboy here. So James Degale defeats Caleb Truax to regain his IBF super middleweight title. Where do I start with this fight? Before the fight, I actually predicted that Caleb Truax was going to win this fight, either on points or by late stoppage. I felt that going into the fight that James Degale is pretty much washed up at this point. He's well past his best. He's pretty much shot. And despite Degale getting the decision, my feelings on him remain the same. I think this guy is well past his best and he's there for the taking. I felt that the fight between him and Truax last night was terrible. Truax lost that fight more than Degale won it. Degale was there for the taking all night and Truax was terrible. We all knew he was a limited world champion, but he didn't really fight with any real gusto. He did not fight with any real sort of urgency, you know. In the first fight, he really pushed Degale back. He was landing that right uppercut to the body and the head. He was out hustling Degale. He was bullying Degale. And he fought with real fire and real passion last time around. He didn't do anything special, but he won it based on work rate and desire. That wasn't there last night from Caleb Truax, so I am disappointed with him because he could have won that fight. Yes, Degale won, according to the cards. I didn't actually score it. I didn't have any interest in scoring it. I struggled to watch it, to be honest. But regardless of him winning this title, he's not going to keep it for long, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But the fight itself, the first couple of rounds, Degale did try and box. He tried to use his legs. He tried to use his jab, but his jab's never been that good. He tried to keep it long, basically, and in the first 2 rounds, you could argue he might have won those 2 rounds, maybe. But I've got to confess, I was struggling to pay attention to with his head, and as a result, Truax was caught several times with his head in the first 2 rounds. In the third round, Degale actually comes off worst. He gets a cut eye because of a head clash, and the cut's quite bad. It's actually ruled a punch by the referee. It was actually caused by a head clash, but the referee called it a pushing, headbutting, mainly coming from James Degale, to be honest, and it really wasn't a pleasant watch. To be quite honest, this fight needed a stronger referee. Degale should have been deducted points a lot earlier than he was. He was deducted 1 point, but I'm not sure what it was for. It was either for using his elbow, for pushing. Because to me, like this fight, I can't feel sorry for Caleb Truax because this fight was winnable for him. You know, the uppercut was there all night. The right uppercut to the body and the head was there all night, but he wasn't throwing on the inside. He wasn't throwing up close. He wasn't jabbing. Man, Degale was there for the taking, and Truax is going to watch that back, and he's going to have so many regrets. But listen, it was what it was. I don't want to talk about this fight, to be honest. I'm struggling to even stay motivated to talk about it. But let's talk about Degale's future. To me, the guy should retire. He is shot. But obviously he has a belt, so he does have one last big payday in a big unification fight. He could fight the winner of the World Boxing Super Series, James Degale versus George Groves 2, or James Degale versus Callum Smith. They would do good numbers in the UK. I think he loses to both. I think both of them stop him. He could fight David Benavidez. Again, good money fight, but he loses that fight, he gets stopped. Or he could fight Gilberto Ramirez, where again, he's not beating Ramirez. James Degale cannot beat any of the other champions. I think they're all one-sided fights. And also, he's got a very tough mandatory in Uzcategui, and he's not beating Uzcategui either. For my money, if Degale fights any of the other champions next, or his mandatory, he's going to lose. He's going to lose his next fight. He's done, he's shot, he needs to retire. He's taken far too much punishment. And it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But there's one last payday out there for him, so why not take it, eh? But if I was him, having pride, I'd want to go out on a win. Because it's going to get ugly when this guy fights the other champions. Or even as Category, like I said. It's going to get ugly. Like, I think this guy is so far gone. I wouldn't confident... Who would you pick? James Degale or the winner of John Ryder and Jamie Cox? Would you be confident in picking James Degale to beat the winner of that fight? I wouldn't. I could easily see both guys beating James Degale. I think James Degale is that far gone. I think he's well past his best, and in his prime, he's always been a bit overrated, to be completely honest. But yeah, I feel James Degale is done, and I felt that before the Truax fight, and I'm even more certain of it now. What did you guys think of the fight? and where does James Degale go from here? Peace.